Hello and welcome into another. I was about to say another edition, but it's actually a video. We're back. We're back doing non-live videos. It's a little bit weird for me, but welcome into our second and final big board prior to the 2021 NBA draft. My name is Jake Neverman. I'm here with my co-host Dave Oster.
Yeah, buddy.
How we doing? How we doing?
Doing good. Doing good. Wrapping up Sunday night.
Yeah, Sunday night. We're feeling all right, and Game 3 is going on right now for the NBA Finals.
Yep.
We're more interested to talk about the draft, which I think most people.
I definitely don't have it going on right over here.
Yeah, I know you probably do. But yeah, we're talking our big boards today. A couple weeks ago, we did a live show about them. This one's going to go up on Patreon. Hopefully, this upcoming Thursday, which is the 15th, I believe, 15th or 16th, yep. Whatever it is. And then a week later, you'll be seeing this on YouTube. Thanks for Ricky for editing all this. It's going to be a hectic one. We'll be going in about 10 spot increments in our big board. Last time we did 30. We're expanding it to 40 this time because we're nerds and we love the NBA draft. And, if we can talk more basketball together, that's what we do.
Yep.
So you'll be seeing more of these. Dave and I will also be reacting to Discord mock drafts coming up this week. I'm not sure on YouTube which one you'll see first because the reactions might actually come out first because this will go on Patreon first. So we'll check that out. Housekeeping down below, Discord, Patreon, join the channel members if you want to support us. We're going to be pumping out a lot of new now videos instead of as much live content as we used to be, and we still will be live for the entire NBA draft that Thursday, reacting to every pick all through the 60 picks, and especially when Deshaun Bones Highland becomes a Philadelphia 76er. That'll be the best pick of the draft.
You can dream.
I will dream. That's what I do. But yeah, did I forget it? No, and thank you to our Patreon sponsor Pat Hill.
Thank you, Pat.
Thanks, Pat. The Bulls, we can't really talk about them that much when we're talking about the draft because no first round pick. So we're going to get right into it. We're going to go 40 through 30 to start, or 40 through 31 we'll go with, because then we'll go, 40 through 31. Yep. So Dave, hit me with your 40 through 31. We'll go in reverse order, yeah.
Counting down.
Count down.
The top 40 of the big board. And again, this is big board, not mock draft. I will say for the first time, it won't be the last time.
15 million.
On my big board at pick 40, pissing people off instantly, is Zaire Williams.
Okay.
39, Josh Primo. 38, Corey Kispert. 37, Cam Thomas. 36, Little Wiggins. 35, VRENZ Blindberg. 34, Jason Preston. 33, Deuce McBride. 32, Ayo Dosunmu. 31, Kai Jones.
Okay, we're definitely going to have some topics to talk about here. At 40 in mind, and also I'll be looking down because we're recording this on my computer, so my phone is my spreadsheet. So if you see me looking down, I'm sorry for the lack of perfection.
Same with me on the left. I got my chart going, yeah.
40, I have Luka Garza. 39, I have Charles Bassey. Number 38, I have Joe Wieskamp. 37, Aaron Henry. Those are supposed to be flipped. 37, Joe Wieskamp. 38, Aaron Henry. Sorry. 36, Kessler Edwards. 35, VRENZ. 34, Zaire Williams. 33, BJ Boston. 32, Day'Ron Sharpe. 31, Jeremiah Earl Robinson. So,
okay.
I don't know where to start. We both agree on one major thing here that people will hate is Zaire Williams. So I will give you the floor to talk about him first, because I think this is a big topic of discussion with a lot of people in the draft. It's his kind of rank in their rankings. Yeah.
So Zaire came into the season. He was a college hopeful. It was the super highly rated high school prospect. He had great size. The way he dominated the high school game gave you hope that would carry over into college and then eventually to the NBA. But we saw just a really rough season out of him. The biggest thing for me when looking at him is you have that NBA body. You have the NBA length, and that is why he is likely going to be a first-round pick. I'm not ignoring that fact. This is my personal big board with reasons behind it, and the reason is he has all the size. Does he have the drive? Does he have the right mindset? Does he have the ability to create his own shot? The answer to all those questions in my mind is no. He has incredible athleticism, and everything on paper is like, this guy is what you want in your prototypical wing of the future. But there's no spark for me, and the fact that he can't create his own shot consistently scares the hell out of me. Yes, some team will pick him probably 15 through 30, and they'll try to work with him and see if they can get that out of him. But what I've seen of him so far, I can't put him higher on my big board because I don't see him being someone who can fulfill that potential. Like, he's just going to be a role player at this point in my mind. And honestly, I think there's a higher chance he washes out because of his lack of drive. Like, I think that's the problem. People want to put a superstar, star next to him and be like, this kid can be the next. I don't see it. No. I see someone with the body, the athleticism. If he had the drive, sure. He doesn't. He doesn't have the shooting consistency. He doesn't have the ability to create. What am I missing here?
I fully agree with you. We both have him in this 30 through 40 range. My problem is that a lot of these guys that we're talking about, even when we hit 30 through 21, is we're talking about guys who we think can end up as role players or high-end role players, maybe back-end starters in the league. When we talk about a guy like Zaire Williams, that's what I think his upside is right now. The problem is when you have the expectations he does, a lot of times players don't, I guess, accept the role player responsibility, and that's how they wash out of the league. Yep. And that's my worry with him, is that what I really would hope for him is that he goes back into the first round and can spend a year or two in the G League, which that's the hope. But a lot of those teams the problem is the best case scenario for him is ending up in the second round with a team like the Raptors, like the Spurs, like the Pacers, somebody who actually knows how to use their developmental teams in the G League to produce their talent. Problem is he'll go middle to back end of the first round and be expected to step into a rotation on a team that's supposed to compete right away. That's the massive problem you're going to face with him, is that I don't think he's near ready to be an NBA prospect. He has the body, and then besides that, what does he have? That's my problem. Like, defensively, he can probably be solid just because of his body, and you can teach defensive IQ pretty quickly to somebody who has the body to be able to succeed. It's the one.
How about that?
It's the one. It's the shooting consistency, and it's the dribbling inconsistency, and how bad is it? Not how inconsistent his handle is. You talked about not being able to get his shot consistently. His handle's wildly inconsistent, and that worries me as somebody who, if he could shoot better, then I'd be okay, because then he could play an off-ball wing, but he can't handle the ball, and he can't shoot the ball consistently, and he doesn't seem to want to get better. So maybe we're wrong, and he could turn out to be better, and what he was supposed to be coming out of high school, but there's no way I could rank him higher right now, knowing all these negatives and not really seeing any net positives.
Yeah, it's just a problem of, like you said, it's the hype coming in gives him this expectation.
Yep.
We didn't see him match that expectation. And again, this was not a normal year. A lot of the stuff that went around college at the time that he was supposed to be playing, like, shit happens. I get it. But at the same time, like, I saw more out of other guys, and that's where I've got him, Yeah,
I think the next guy we can touch on is, again, I'm going to let you go because this is one of your guys. VRENZ. You talked about him before. I've also he's one of the guys I've started to watch tape on more in the last few weeks because you've mentioned his name over and over again. So just give me.
He's fun.
He is.
He's a 6'10". A lot of people want to call him a guard. I think he's a wing with some great vision because of his size and the mismatches.
Yeah.
He has got a great shot. He has no lack of confidence in it.
Say the least.
One of the biggest things I see on him is when people want to take pick and rolls, if they go under, he's taking that shot. There's no question in his game. I really like his size giving him court vision, and his coaches giving him the confidence to make those passes and be an initiator on the offensive side. He's not going to be he's not a point guard by any means. This is just someone who knows how to see when guys are open on the court around him and make the right pass at the right time. So, I see him as a really good wing going forward, a potential wing going forward. Yeah. I don't know how long it will take him to hit the NBA and be a plus level player. Yeah, I think he's a high level role player, but the upside is there because of his size, because of his shot, and his fundamentals already. Those three things together, for his size, how well he moves, his shot, and his court vision, that is like three fucking gold stars next to each other. It's like, this is a prospect for a reason.
Yeah, I think not comparing to this player at all. I think what we talked about, though, is one of the top conversation in our Discord, again, join below, is a lot of conversations around Alonzo Ball and his role in the NBA and how good of a player he is. And I've pointed out that I think he's more of a mismatch wing who can take advantage of weak side defense, and with his passing ability mixed with his shooting. VRENZ is that, but a lot taller and definitely probably not as near as polished as Lonzo is to certain parts of his game. But his passing ability, his size, and his shooting is something that you can use off the bench of the NBA, especially as a mismatch wing. And defensively, he's 6'10", and his feet aren't I don't want to label him. He's going to be an average defender most likely if he gets to the NBA. So
I'm not sure his wingspan, if he's like a 7'1" or 7'2" kind of guy for the wingspan. I'll have to wait for that measurement, but yeah.
Yeah. So again, when we're talking, people love this when I used it in my mock is high end role players. It's what you're looking for in the second round, end of the first. He's prototypical. If you can, again, probably another guy who will spend a year developing somewhere. Probably won't be able to jump in right away into a rotation.
Yeah.
So if he can end up in one of those places we mentioned, or a team that doesn't need him to step in right away and can spend a year, and we've seen the G League through the last couple of years develop talent after talent after talent for contending teams, even like Chris Boucher with the Raptors. Like he came up right after the Kawhi year, and he's been great. And I mean, I'll preach on O'Shea Brissett. You'll hear him a lot on this channel because I love O'Shea Brissett. He came through.
You are a fan and a stan.
Yeah, Shake Milton came straight through the G League too. I guess I guess Luka Garzi's on my board. He's not on your board. Second round talent. We all agree on that. But he could turn into what the NBA is moving towards in the stretch five mode. Defensively, I'm not really sure what he is because he doesn't have quick feet. His IQ is kind of like meh, but his shooting form's there and his IQ offensively is there. He doesn't turn the ball over a lot, and his handle is okay for his size. I wouldn't say it's anything spectacular, but being able to roll in the pick and roll game, also being able to fade out of pick and rolls or pick and fades at that point. Just a guy that a team could take, and if you need a stretch five off the bench, I think he fits that right away, and he brings leadership for a guy who's going to come in as a prospect, which I guess is hard to get in today's NBA with leadership. He showed that in college. So again, it's more of a heart pick for me because I love Luka Garza, but I wanted your thoughts on him.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he spent the time and effort training to lose weight, slim himself down, try to get one of the biggest negatives off the board against him. Yep. Honestly, you have to look at that and go, very mature player. Again, we know he's an upperclassman, but like there is a level of passion that he wants his game to translate, and I have to give that like definite props. I think that at 245, yes, he moves better. Yes, the drills show that, hey, he looks smoother out there. His offensive game, like he says, is really good for his size. I mean, you're just looking for a five off the bench who can bring offense. Yeah, I think he can do that. I don't know if he goes mid two, late two, or if he goes ahead and goes, I'd like to work out with a handful of teams. Thank you. No, thank you.
I think, again, I've kind of cried out for this. If you're going to have like a Ben Simmons on your team, you need a stretch five. So if someone is willing to take that risk as the mid to late second round, I think it could pay off because I think he could step in and give you 7 minutes off the bench a game. Like that's what he would do. He is not going to be a high end role player. He'll be a low volume role player in the NBA. But that at 40, that's what you're looking for. If you hit that on 40 in the draft, you're killing it. Is there anybody else you want to touch on in 31 through 40?
I mean, I have 2 lottery picks in a lot of people's minds in my section.
Well, I didn't know if we want to hit them now or later, so I guess we can't hit them now. It's Corey Kispert.
Yep. He's a catch and shoot player. I have a lot more complete players above him. I think it's the thing. Like, I don't know if I just don't buy it, but his lasting image in my head of coming up short in big game performances against better competition doesn't help me think about him as a high-level role player. I know he is, training under Joe Harris, and he wants to be a Joe Harris clone, and that's cool and all.
It does look like
but, there's
your in-depth analysis.
The point is, I don't know if I would go, again, where was Joe Harris taken in his class? Like, I get it. Like, he can knock down shots if he's left open. Yes. Is he good catch and shoot? Sure, he's excellent, But at the same time, I've got a lot of guys ahead of him who are just better basketball players all around. And I think my fear is around his limitations as a player. Has he peaked already as a player, basically? Like, what more can he do better? Can he defend better? I don't know. As a slasher, he is passable, but it's not like he's going to be running anybody off the fucking line. So, like, I just don't love his game. And I think that at the high level, if you can't be a 3 and D player, just knocking down catch and shoots, sure, you're a bench player, that's fine. But, like, I don't know if I like the upside of other guys ahead of him as they have more room to grow because they've shown that they can do more things. He's already found his role, his niche, and it's locked in,
So, yeah, I thought I was low on Corey Kispert because you'll hear him in my next segment and the next segment from me. I think when you bring up Joe Harris, he's a better passer and dribbler than Joe Harris, and I think he defensively, we'll see, just because size difference, I guess. I mean, I'm not sure he'll ever be the 47% shooter that Joe Harris is from three, which is spectacular. Like, all-time great three-point shooting season he just had, but he's terrible.
But again, what happened to Joe Harris in the playoffs, Jake?
Okay, but is that
what happened to the role player in the playoffs?
But you separate that because, like, you look at Seth Curry, the role player in the playoffs. What happened to him? So there's
Seth Curry isn't a role player. Let's get that straight, Jake. I've been preaching Seth Curry for 3 fucking years on this channel. And people are finally starting to listen.
You saw my draft profile of him. I've been preaching him for about 7 years, so I have a little bit of a lenience on you. But again,
maybe
what happened to Joe Harris in the playoffs? That's not contingent on what happens to Corey Kispert in the draft. I think they're two separate entities in each other. I'm not sure that one relates to the other. Corey Kispert is like the highest of high-end role players you can get, like coming into the NBA. What will he progress in to be a high-end starter? Will he take that jump? That's the question that I have with him, and that's why I have him in the 21 through 30 range, is because I'm not quite sure exactly what his upside is. If you're taking him to be an NBA-ready player, he's that. He will be able to step in and be a solid player for whatever team he rolls in on. His catch and shoot ability alone will allow him to do that. My question is, dribbling ability is okay. Passing IQ is okay. He's, again, a veteran who comes in and will be able to put up solid stat lines. I don't think he's as bad as you're putting him out to be as the second round prospects. But I also don't think he's top 10 like I've seen some people talk about him. I think I lie somewhere in the middle with him.
Yeah, when he gets drafted 10th overall, I'm just gonna puke.
Well, the Pelicans,
like live stream, I will puke.
Pelicans are gonna trade him, so I mean, trade the 10th.
I can't. They better.
I'm not.
If their plan is to take him, they better just trade the pick.
And who is the other lottery pick?
Kai Jones. Yeah. Potential lottery pick. Yeah. Look, I came to Texas looking for Greg Brown. I saw Kai Jones. I was like, wow, this kid's really impressive. And the more I watch Kai Jones play, the less impressed I was by him. And I don't know if this is like recency bias after watching what's going on with the Pelicans. Duh. And their athletic big from Texas, who is supposed to be good, who we're 2 years into his career now, and he's shown us absolutely fucking nothing. Like, I love bouncy big men, yes. But can Kai Jones be anything more than that? Where's his fucking defensive IQ? Where's his offensive IQ? Like, both of these are big questions. He is a big, tall, bouncy, center, potentially. And, like, he's not even a phenomenal rebounder for his size. Like, that's the other thing. And again, that's Texas for playing multiple bigs. Like, they've got, their own lineup things. You can question that, I will give you. But I just didn't love him as a 4-5 tweener. And I have so many reservations about him that we've seen guys with similar profiles not grow. And it's just like, if he hits, he could be a stud. No doubt in my mind. But he has one of the lowest floors.
He's the exact mold of you've talked about. He's athletic big with a very high motor. When I look at him, I see Jackson Hayes again. That would be my point. That is your point, but the point still is, what if he hits? Because what if Jackson Hayes still hits? Jackson Hayes showed flashes of what he could be over the end of the last season. Problem is, him and Zion don't fit together. Those picks together, that's a whole different issue. Griff in that front office, I don't know what roster they were building last year. Kai Jones is a risk. And again, I don't have him in my lottery. I have him a little bit later. So I do tend to agree with you. I'm a little lower than most people on him. But the upside that he has or can have is still worth the risk in the middle to late first round to me. His shooting ability needs to be worked on. Again, somebody you have a high motor who is an athletic freak like that and can play the small ball 5. He's 6'11". So I don't know if I label small ball 5, but technically, that's what it is now in today's NBA. He has the ability to play that, and he has the ability to guard like 3 through 5 almost. So the body is there. It's kind of similar to what we talked about with Zaire Williams, except he's way it kind of is the same thing because it's just, I guess
Zaire is more on himself to get himself going.
Yes.
Kai Jones, if you put a point general, a point guard next to him, he can look better.
Yeah.
I think that's the whole thing, is his dependency isn't solely within himself. And I think you do have to look at Texas and not blame them, but criticize their lack of spacing
Shaka's terrible.
and their lineups, because they played, like 3 big man lineups. Like, it's very hard to have good spacing when Greg Brown literally can't shoot, can't pass, and has one direction, which is downhill.
Well, they're
like
left, so that
Sims out there too. Like, that's the whole point. Is it wasn't the ideal situation for him, but at the same time, I didn't see enough as the season went on to give me that, like, I just think his floor is so incredibly low. That's my problem. Is as you see my big board continue on, I like sure things. The more years I've followed the NBA draft, the more times I've fallen in love with guys who have incredible potential and can't fucking translate for one reason or another. Not even all their fault at sometimes. Sometimes you get put on a shitty team with no development or bad opportunities. Like, that is my concern, is like the chance to hit for guys like Zaire and guys like Kai Jones is so low in my mind that I'm like, you know what? I will understand why people take that hit, but I will pass for now.
That's the difference we have, is that I do like sure things, and I'm surprised you don't like Corey Kispert though, because he's literally a sure thing. Like, he will be an NBA player.
He'll be an NBA, he'll be an NBA player for probably like at least 5 years, easy.
Yeah.
But I just don't. I think there are guys with better upsides or better, well-rounded games.
It's fair.
He just seems so narrow in his niche.
Agreed. I'll be interested to see where you have Kuminga then, because if you say you don't like guys with low floors, he is the exact mold of a guy with a low floor. So that'll be interesting to see where you have him. Let's move into our 30 through 21 now. I'm going to go first on this one. 30, I have Quentin Grimes. 29, Ayo Dosunmu. 28, Miles McBride. 27, JT Thor. 26, ROKAS JOKUBAITIS. 25, Josh Christopher. 24, ROKAS Perkasson. I think I said that right. 23, Perkson.
It's like Perka Chin.
So Percocet. Okay, sorry. 23 Cam Thomas. 23 Cam Thomas. 22 Trey Mann, and 21 Corey Kispert. You are up.
Okay.
You are up.
Okay. So at 30, I have ROKAS JOKUBAITIS. At 29, I have Isaiah Jackson. At 28, I have Bones Highland. 27, I have Josh Christopher. At 26, there's definitely a mess of my board because there's Corey Kispert, which is where he actually was.
Oh my god.
That's a slight asterisk there.
We're gonna keep going. This is recorded, not live. We're gonna let Dave live in his misery there.
I hate you. At 25, I have Trey Murphy. At 24, I have Usman Garuba. At 23, I've got Jaden Springer. 22, I've got Keon Johnson. At 21, I have Giddey. And now I realize the swap that I was supposed to make but didn't finish making. So that whole conversation was great around Kispert and where I had him. But I did have him.
Well, it's probably good because we wouldn't have talked about him here, because the names as you threw out at the end of your list. What? I mean, okay, we have.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I apologize.
I'm kind of speechless right now, honestly.
Yep. Wherever you want to start.
I gotta compose myself over here. Yeah.
I can't believe I can't. Oh, I apologize again about the Corey Kispert thing.
It's fine.
I was switching him and Cam Thomas back and forth so many times, and then I ended up bumping somebody else out, and then that happened.
So, where do we start? I guess we gotta start with Keon Johnson, because he's one of my favorite guys in this draft, and you just threw him at 22.
Yep.
One of my favorite guys in the draft. The only thing he lacks is a consistent three ball. His mid range game is fine. His driving game is fine. His IQ is fine. His physical game is fine. How is he 22?
He's 22 because I don't think he has a shot.
I disagree.
I honestly it is one of my biggest things. Like, every time I watched the Tennessee Vols play, like, I was always watching for that backcourt. That's all it was. It was the backcourt and Pons, but like Pons is more of like a weird, like,
I love
is this guy ever gonna figure his shit out to be like an NBA talent?
I love him.
He should be.
I loved him.
Yeah. It was always about that backcourt, and that's why I couldn't really separate them in my mock too much either. Like, I literally have them going one after the other, Keon and then Jaden. And Keon, to me, is just, his measurement hurt him. So he measured in small for his position, which sucks. He doesn't have a crazy wingspan, which sucks. His bounce is great, but at the same time, that only accounts for so much. I don't think his shot will ever quite hit on that top level, but at the same time, I do think his defense is translatable. Like, he has good defense I don't think he gets any better to go cross position though. Like that's the thing. He's limited as a defender. So I'm seeing all these things and I'm going, how is he better than like Hamidou Diallo was coming out of college? Hamidou Diallo was an athletic fucking freak. He could jump out the gym. Obviously, Keon beat the record for jump. Same. I will give him the credit for it. He is a slightly better athlete, but not too dissimilar from Hamidou Diallo. Diallo is someone who is still struggling to find his role, even though he's an incredibly efficient scorer. You know, we saw him up there in Detroit after the trade, just absolutely throwing down dunks and getting to the rim. But it's still that big like asterisk of like, how does he fit in going forward? Because he can't stretch the floor. And I think that because of the size for Keon, it will always be a problem for him.
Okay. There's so many things to dissect here. I think this comes back to the end of our last conversation, which is betting on sure things versus betting on risk. Keon Johnson is definitely a risk, and we'll talk about another guy that you put in your 21. I can't even do it. We'll talk about risk versus, I guess, safety. Is what we'll call it in terms of the NBA draft. Is I like risk when I'm talking about my big boards. I like the upside guys. I mean, you'll see it even later in the next round because you named another guy that's in my next round. So, you know, people do label. We talked about it last time. People label us the We Agree podcast. We definitely don't agree on a lot. It's true. There's definitely not a lot. We have different ways to go about, you know, our vision of the big boards. And I think that's like when we look at prospects, we're looking for a different thing. Yeah, you're looking for sure things. I'm looking for what's the best end this guy could be instead of.
I weigh heavier. I think I weigh floor heavier than I do ceiling. Well, you see
my mock drafts. They're completely different than my big board because I think that teams bet on a lot more safe things than going after. But whole different thing. Keon Johnson, I agree with you that his defense probably is where it's at and it won't improve. I do agree on that end. But he's another guy who. I think his shot can develop, and I think that's where we differ. I think that's literally the only thing that you differ with Keon Johnson. Because if the belief was for you that Keon Johnson's shot could translate or could progress,
then I would have him much higher.
It'd probably be like 10 spots higher, something around there. So I think literally that's the only thing that we disagree with. I agree with everything you said apart from that part, that I think that his shot can increase simply because I believe in player development in terms of today's NBA. There's been basically a couple players who haven't been able to develop their shot because that's because of ignorance for most of them. Looking at you, Ben Simmons, that most of them that's what it is. It's their own self-doubt. Most of the time when prospects who, especially this young, can come in and progress their shot and take it year over year, especially Keon Johnson of the Warriors is like my wet dream. Like if he could end up on the Warriors, I think that's the perfect place for him, especially somewhere, any place that has good player development and has a proven track record is perfect for him. Now, him ending up in like Orlando, no, because they do have a good track record of progressing people, but they have fails. They also have fail. Like I don't know how to describe it because obviously every organization has fails, but I guess Orlando has them to such a degree where it scares me. We literally talked about them going. People go to die there, like their careers let it go to die in Orlando. We have talked.
Okay.
We have talked about that in the past. Do not. That might have changed in the last couple of years. There's your, but it was a thing. And Keon Johnson, I think the only part we differ from is you're over negatizing. Is that even a word? You're being over negative about his shot and it not being able to develop. I think that's the only thing that we disagree with there.
I think, again, Keon can get the ball to mid-range, and he has this habit of pulling up for mid-range shots right around the foul line. But the problem is that only works if people bite on a three-point shot, which no one will at the NBA level.
Yep.
And again, I seriously, I looked at him and then I went back and I looked at Hamidou Diallo, and I was like, how are they not similar prospects? Like, okay, what can one do that the other can't? And then I look at where Hamidou went in the draft, and then I look at Hamidou, and you've seen him fucking hustle and grind to get to where he is. And I love Hamidou, but I still think that, like, hey, last year he took very small percentage of threes, but hit them at, about 38% clip. Great. Like, will it ever be enough to hold down a spot? Because right now he's just a massive hustle guy, a massive energy guy off the bench, who can come in and attack. But that's great. When you're actually in a situation where you're a starter and people game plan around you, like, ain't nobody biting on Keon at the 3-point line. They're going to give him space, and guess what? They know where he collapses to. They know where his comfort zone is. And if he can't get there, I'm sorry, like his finishing at the rim is not going to be elite the next level. He's not going up against guards, the same, or he's not going up against centers the same way he was from Tennessee. Like I just don't see him having the same level of success with his small stature. Yes, his jump is insane, but his weight, his wingspan, everything around his shot motion not translating gives me that like, I want you to succeed, but I'm not betting on it. I'm not going to bet on it.
And again, we're going to talk about this all the time. It's potential versus now. I guess that's the worry. Is that I mean, 6'5" with a 6'8" wingspan. Yeah, he's not the biggest, but he can play the 2 guard in the NBA. I think that's where I sit with him. And to play the 2 guard in the NBA, he's going to have to progress his shot. And again, I fully agree. If his shot does not improve, he will flail out most likely. I don't know what his end up would being with a role player esque, but I would agree.
See, that's wrong because he can't space the floor.
Again,
by the way, he is not 6'5". Oh. He is 6'3.5".
My bad.
Putting it out there with a 6'7" wingspan. So like, it's not the size concerns are that's my big problem.
Size concerns are there.
Again, when you have someone like Miles McBride, who has less athleticism but has a crazy wingspan, same height, better wingspan, better basketball IQ. Like that's a player in my mind who I'm like, I would rather put my money on that guy. I get the athleticism, and you can't teach athleticism at that level.
Yep.
Never going to say no to that. But, like, McBride just is that version, but better to me. I would take basketball IQ and wingspan over raw athleticism any day of the week. Because Zion is the exception. He is the asterisk to the rule. Athletic freaks don't always translate at the NBA level, you know?
I don't know. Again, I don't disagree, and we're just talking about potential versus risk. That's literally all this is Keon Johnson, if he develops his 3-point shot, can be a very solid NBA player. I think that's the only thing we disagree on. The other one, you're really trying to grind my gears tonight, I think. Giddey at 21. Woo! Okay. Can't shoot, but
he can't. He's little, and like I watched every single assist he made this past season. It was awesome to watch.
The best passer in the draft. Yeah, it was awesome to watch him.
He's not though.
But he is.
Cooper's in the draft, so he's not.
Well, yes, Cooper's second. Yeah, agreed.
No, sorry. Look, he is 6'8", gives him a distinct advantage. Yes, but he has to play the point guard position, whereas guys like Cade Cunningham are going to play the wing in the NBA. So we have that knock on him already because his shot just isn't there. Like he doesn't have. He was a 29% shooter over in the NBL, and watching every assist it gave me like nightmares of the old Rondo clips where like he'd have like a clear lane and drive it and at the last second kick. You're like, you mother, just finish the shot. Finish the lay-in, dunk, whatever it is. You are 6'8".
That is something.
Finish in the paint. Don't dump off and try to make your teammate like catch a weird angled pass and then finish on their end. Like it was like so frustrating to watch some of these because he easily. And here's the thing that confused me. Like his free throw percentage isn't great, but I don't think his shot's necessarily broken from the line.
Yeah.
But like if he was just in full attack mode, I think he would have put up over 20 a night easily. Like, I think that he has the capability to live at the line and live in the paint. But the problem is that his outside shot is so poor, and his hesitancy to take shots means people will just go under, which gives me bad Ben Simmons vibes, which means, okay, we've got a slower, less athletic, worse defender version of Ben Simmons. Why would we want that? Like, why would we take a high pick on that right now? And again,
how do we?
That is just the
I hate that we ended up talking about Ben Simmons here, but I think a lot of the terms of what you look at Ben Simmons is mentality instead of, I guess, one. I guess it was how I'll label it. Is because
he attempts them.
Giddey, I think actually, again, we're talking about low volume free throw percentages. I don't buy into them. That we've talked about this. We've had this discussion before. If he shoots 7-8 free throws a game, he'll probably shoot a better 80% probably. Or
I believe.
So I fully believe that. Again, we're talking about potential here with Giddey. I believe that his shot is not broken in any terms, and his free throw shot is good enough where I think he can build off of that. I've talked in the past of prospects who worry me because their free throw percentage or their free throw shot motion is terrible, and then they have to develop a 3-point game. That's something that concerns me. With Giddey, that really doesn't concern me. It's more of a mental thing, and I think again, it depends what team he gets put on. That's a big thing with a lot of this is Giddy, if he gets to run a team, I think that mindset will change or can change. I'm interested to see Giddy. You won't hear for 2 segments from me. You know that. You already know that Giddy's way down there. But I love Giddy's game. He is my boy in this draft. You know that Giddy is my guy. JG4 is slowly becoming my guy because that is the one thing we agree podcast on. But I still think that Giddy has star-ish potential is just because of his passing ability and his IQ offensively. Now the mental thing, that's something that I can't judge, and I can't, I don't blame you for being worried about it. It's just something that I feel like most players can get over at some point. We've seen some be fickle with it and kind of be their downfall, but I still think the passing ability he has, the IQ he has, and even while you say he doesn't finish the drives, he can still get there against most people, even without a quick first step, which is the only thing that I worried about with him is not having a quick first step. It's kind of when we talk about Cade, but he has the craftiness to be able to beat defenders consistently. I'll be interested to see that, especially in the G League this year, not the G League, in the Summer League this year, where he pans out in terms of like beating defenders consistently who are playing at an NBA level. That'll be something that's interesting. There are questions with him, and I've talked about in my mock draft where he has massive bust potential, and I don't disagree with that. But the upside of him is having an elite passer with somebody who can consistently beat defenders, and it is Ben Simmons-esque, but I mean, you talked about Rondo, and that's kind of a 6'8" Rondo is almost what came to my mind when I looked at Josh Giddey because of his passing ability and making players around him better. He's never going to be the 1 or 2 on a championship team. I will give you that right now. But can he be the primary ball handler on one? That's a different conversation. So
yeah, I mean, the problem is, his defense is also a concern for me because, like I said, if you're playing him at the point guard position, which I believe you have to because of his lack of an outside shot, like, what does that mean for you on the defensive end? Like, are you going to roll with like a 3-wing, 4-wing lineup to play alongside him? Because I don't know if he can keep up. Like, it shifts a lot around. And I know this is like, it seems like a small thing, but it's just Rondo was always, a fucking pesky goddamn, like, defender. Like, defensive IQ, go with gadget arms, like, all that shit he had about him was great. And I think that that's the problem is, like, Giddey needs to learn the NBA speed, one thing. Because a lot of the shit he could get away with in Australia and New Zealand, that ain't gonna fly here. Like, there's a level of sloppiness to that game which I have fun watching, but at the same time, like, oh, he's getting bailed out. But he's getting bailed out right now.
I agree.
But he also has the balls to make hilarious passes and just, like, pull down a rebound because I'm 6'8", turn, and just full court cannon a ball, like, spot on. And it's just like, okay, well, you can't teach that. Like, that is just something that he is inherently going to give to your team because that's what he can do. Like,
I agree. I think that a lot of when we watch LaMelo Ball and how reckless he played in the Australian League, it's not. It's just I was able to look away at the negatives then because you just saw what LaMelo was, and no, Giddey is not LaMelo, but there's just so many positives to Giddey's game that I think that make him such a big prospect. I won't say where yet, but such a big prospect on my board that it's too much to pass up. I fell in love with him like 7 months ago watching his tape, so I'm never going to go back on it now. I just think the upside of him, bust potential, I think outside of the top 4 in this draft, so many guys have bust potential, if not all of them, like massive. Outside of like Franz and like Corey Kispert and like guys who are just going to step in and be role players, massive bust potential with a lot of these guys in this draft.
Hey Jake, this is my cycle. I fall in love with players early, and then I over-nitpick the fuck out of their game.
That's what you're doing with Giddey. I just hope you know that.
Probably, and I don't deny, because I was right there with you on Giddey. I remember talking to you about him literally like this time last year. So like it's just, I respect his game. I think that he has a long way to go before he could be an NBA starter. And I think that that's part of the problem as well, is what's his developmental plan going forward? Because do you leave him in the G League? Do you put him on a team on a bench unit where, like, if he went, say he goes like in that 20-something area to like the Rockets and like have the fucking second unit?
There's a
like,
chance that Giddey's there after 20. I still don't.
I'm not saying he is. I'm just trying to put him in a position where, like, he would have a second unit to run with. Like, that would perhaps be the best. Like, do you think that he's better off running a second unit, or he's better off being in the G League for the first year?
Better off running a second unit, and I think he's already brought up Lonzo once. We might as well bring him up again. Giddey, if his shot can develop, could play such a similar role to what Lonzo played this year. Like as a mismatch wing. Listen, with his passing ability, if he developed a shot, did you not hear the if of what I said? if he develops a shot. But you know what? The one thing he can do that Lonzo can't do is drive. So playing a mismatched wing with somebody who actually can put the ball on the ground, it's just, again, it's difference in opinion of, I believe that Keon and Josh Giddey's shot can develop. You don't. So that's literally the only difference between the two, and that's why you mass. That's
how much it can swing. Yeah,
that's how big boards are. So we talked so much time talking about those two. Hit some other guys in 21 through 30. I honestly Rocco. I think we talked about him a little bit last time. You didn't name him yet, right?
No, I didn't.
We're gonna save him then. We're not gonna.
Very similar to where you have Giddey, I would assume.
Okay. JT Thor.
JT Thor. I have not named yet, but he is in my next section.
Okay. Let's talk about him now.
And I think the cool thing about JT Thor is he was unlocked by Sharif Cooper, the best passer in this draft class, at Auburn, and it was really fun to see him evolve as a player because, like, at first it was very much like, newborn baby deer out there. Like, he has all this length, but it wasn't quite being put to use correctly. Like, you saw him taking great outside shots. You saw him take a couple steps, like, and yamming on people. Yeah. But once you gave him a fucking grade, like, A+ passer, like, his cuts were deadly. Yeah. And he has fearlessness written all over him. But, like, he is exactly what you want in a, like, go big prospect because he already has a good shot. He's hit threes at a competent rate on decent volume, which means, okay, great. We have a shooting big who has athleticism, who has muscle to put on his frame, and it looks like his athleticism is for real. Like, all of these things check boxes, and this is every reason I believe in him and not Kai Jones.
Agreed.
They're similar from a outside perspective, and I think a lot of people don't understand that, why they have Kai Jones up there is why they should really go back and go, shit, JT Thor is just better. Just on paper, better. In actuality, better prospect than Kai Jones is right now. And I love him as, a new age 4. I think he's exactly what people want. If they want a small ball 5 out there, somewhere between, fine. I just think that he is, like, exactly where the NBA is going with wing prospects, and I think that he is absolutely flying up the charts right now.
Yeah, I agree. It's not as much as the NFL in terms of the NBA's draft combine climbers. JT Thor is, like, the embodiment of that. Is like, we saw him at the combine, and I was even like, I was watching one of the scrimmage games, and I'm like, what the hell? I was like, they were, like, showing his highlights on the side of him in his shooting drills and all that. He's amazing. His athleticism's great. I'm not even quite sure what his upside is at this point. I just know that he's going to fit into the NBA in some way. So
yeah, he's 6'8.5" with a 7'3" wingspan.
Is he like
yes, please.
It's literally, we talked about this last time on our big boards, is small ball 5 movement is what's happening. Is JT Thor is he the large wingspan, shorter height, small ball 5 that you want in today's NBA, who can also stretch the floor and can cut like no other and play against these, like, I don't even know who, like, he just creates so many mismatches if you play him at the small ball 5 because how quick he is that most normal centers can't guard him, that it almost forces the other team to adjust towards you whenever you run those kind of lineups, which is why he's going to be, a team's going to take him, not know what role they're going to play him in yet, and just be like, we're just going to throw you out there. Whatever role you play, you're going to be good at.
Two things. One, continuing on the combine hype train. He was tied for the 4th largest hand length, which is always important as far as those big guys. You want to see the larger hand size. It means they can actually palm the ball when they need to. Better control, better dribbling. Yep. And the other thing is, as far as, where he aims out at, if you're talking small ball 5 or, kind of a tweener, he's like, if you gave Serge Ibaka athleticism, like, he has the floor spacing. He has the ability to be a defensive fucking monster with that 7'3" wingspan. I love this kid's game, and I'm having a hard time not putting him higher on my board.
I agree.
Because it feels like he is such, like, he checks all the boxes from a scout's perspective. Yep. I'm like, great, what am I missing? Okay, he needed an elite point guard to unlock him. But what did he show us in the games he didn't have, or when Coop wasn't on the floor? Like, what could we still get out of him if we had a passable, point guard out there? And he is crazy upside.
Yeah, it's like the 180 of, like, remember when we were like, what happens when John Morant gets good teammates that he's passing to? Now we're doing the other one of what if JT Thor gets somebody who's actually good passing to him.
Yeah.
Give me a Jaren Jackson Jr., JT Thor front court. I don't know. It's just let me run with John Morant running with those two. Yeah, I love JT Thor. Again, if we were doing this is our final mock before the draft, I'm pretty sure he's going to keep rising on my board. As I don't even think he was in my last one, and now he's at 27. And then the only guy I don't want to spend too much time on him, but the last guy in this section is Cam Thomas that I want to talk about with you. You had him in the last section,
correct?
So you want to explain a little bit with him?
Sure. I mean, he was a high volume guy. He had the ultra green light at LSU, and I think that LSU team was hilariously talented. Didn't get enough credit. They have a legit point guard who I believe is going back in Smith.
So I think I read.
Yeah, he's going back, and Watford and Cam are going out to the draft. Actually, I think one more player is probably going to be an undrafted, but he did already sign an agent. But yeah, oozing with potential as far as the school. The kid has incredible confidence, taking shots everywhere. You look at the percentages and you go, not really, enthusiastic about it, but at the same time, it's like that kid didn't see a bad shot.
I was going to say.
Yeah, I think you're actually dropping him. But yeah, he didn't see a bad shot in his mind, which is sort of the problem. So with him, it's more so right system, right fit, and kind of unleash him. Everything about his offensive game was good. He had 0 to no effort on defense.
It's going to happen.
Is that an LSU thing? Is that because he was such high usage on their side? Both of those things could be potentially yes. I think that if you want a high-level scorer from all three levels, yeah, he could be that guy. It's just he is so lopsided, and then the fact that he couldn't rein in his shot to be like winning basketball, because I think there were guys who had better shots on that team, and he lost them a couple games by himself.
Agreed. Shot selection is a big thing with him. That'll continue to be the big thing, but he's probably going to go in this 21 through 30 range is what I've seen a lot from him. And if he was on a contending team that just needs him to come off the bench and be a bucket getter, I mean, he scores at every level, like with ease. Shot selection will hopefully improve as he comes into the NBA. But I'd rather much work with a guy who doesn't know what shot not to take coming into the NBA than being scared to take every shot coming into the NBA. So, yeah, it was shot.
There's your 76er fan.
Shot tonight at Ben Simmons. But yeah, his rookie card's right there. You can see it right there. But yeah, it just I love Cam Thomas's ability to get a bucket at any level. I think he's going to step in and be I don't know if high volume, depending on what team he ends up on off the bench, but he's kind of like what you want in a six man. He's just what you want. But yeah, that'll wrap up the 21 through 30. We're now going to move on to our 20 through 11. And now we're going to move into our 20 through 11. I always do this hand motion whenever I'm like, we're going forward. It's like the air ball. I know that a lot with Ben Simmons. Just 4 shots at Ben Simmons. One every segment. We're going for it. Dave, give me your 20 through 11. Also, I want to preface this. Before the show, last big board, we didn't put Jared Butler in. So mine doesn't include Jared Butler, but Dave's will include Jared Butler. So there's a little discrepancy there. But Dave, 20 through 11.
Fair thing. So at 20, I've got TREY. At 19, I have Davion Mitchell. At 18, I've got Joe Wieskamp. At 17, I've got Grimy Grimes. At 16, I have Jalen Johnson. At 15, I have JT Thor. At 14, I have Barnes. At 13, I have Chris Duarte, I feel like I always get his last name.
Did you just say Scotty Barnes?
I did. At 12, I have Jonathan Kuminga.
Oh my, you were killing me last time.
And at 11, I have Mo Wagner.
You were killing me last time for having Kuminga at 14. Okay. Okay. Whew. 20, I have Jaden Springer. 19, I have Kai Jones. 18, I have Chris Duarte. 17, I have James Bouknight. 16, I have Davion Mitchell. 15, Franz Wagner. 14, Nishan Bones Highland. Number 13, Sharif Cooper. Number 12, Jonathan Kuminga. We agree. Number 11, Moses Moody. Dave, you are just like shots fired today, going like you're just like rapping. Whoa, okay. It's just Scotty Barnes, 15.
Yeah.
Go.
So Scotty Barnes.
Go.
So Scotty Barnes is a prospect where people are saying his high end is somewhere around. I've already blanked on his name. Wow.
You got it.
I can picture his face. He's on the Warriors. He's Draymond Green. Yeah. They're like Scotty Barnes could be like Draymond Green, and as he learns to develop a shot and all that stuff. And I'm going, I mean, that is possible. Like he can ball handle as a 6'9" guy. His defense is very good. He's a very poor rebounder, which kind of is disappointing to me. Part of that is interesting because you think of someone who can't make an outside shot consistently, he'd play closer to the rim and be a better rebounder, but his rebound percentage is actually quite poor for his size. I think part of it comes down to the way Florida State plays, because they did have like Raquan Gray out there, who's a bigger guy who gravitated close to the basket as well. But at the same time, it was just like I understand why people are so hyped about him, but again, the shot's not there. His offensive IQ, I feel good. I think he's maybe overcredited for at this point, because of his size. His passing is good, yes, but it's like Giddey is a he can play half court very well. I think he can play half court. I think he can play full court. I think both of those things Giddey is a solid point guard for. I think that Barnes is a secondary passer. He's a great pivot man. He can. As a center, he'll probably, or a center, and again, small ball center is sort of where we're thinking he'll end up at, right?
100%.
We don't see him playing guard.
100%.
We don't see. Yeah, okay. So, like, as a small ball center or a 4-5 tweener, he might end up with 4 assists a game. But that's, like, it. So I'm going, okay, great. You have to have an offense that is going to utilize him into doing that, because not every team runs a system where you're going to see your 4-5 have that kind of an offensive style to him where, the stretching the floor is a question mark. His shot isn't great. His free throw, Like, there's every reason to love his defense. If you just look at that side of the ball, you go, that kid's a top 10 defender in this class. Yes, no doubt about it. Perhaps even top 5. I love everything he brings on that side of the ball. But on the offensive end, I feel like people are propelling him so far with the Draymond comps and, all the IQ. I don't see it. I do not see that shit out of him. And I think that you have to land in the right team with the right coach, with the right supporting cast. All of that has to go right for him to be unlocked. And I think that's the thing. I'm aiming for, if he hits an average team, like, what would happen if he landed on a team like the Bulls or a team like, whoever? It's like, great. Would they have the right guys around him to use him and unlock him? Or would he just be, an above average player, but not anything more than a starter? And I think that's sort of like my problem is it takes so much for him to go from like defensive, wing / center kind of tweener to, like star role player, like all-star kind of hopeful,
Yeah, to answer your question on Scotty Barnes, I do agree with you that the floor stretching is somewhat of a question. But then when you look back at Draymond, wasn't floor stretching a question for him for most of his career? Yes, it was. His shot was inconsistent. His free throw was inconsistent. And defensively, he was great, which is what Scotty Barnes is going to bring. You talk about how you like sure things. Scotty Barnes is going to find a way to play in the NBA for I would think a long time, just because of how good he is defensively and the way the game looks like it's shifting towards small ball 5. I don't disagree, again, with I guess all that we disagree with on our big boards is that I'm way more overly optimistic on people being able to work on their shots and improve their shooting. I think literally that's the only difference between what we're sitting at with this. Again, with Scotty Barnes, if Scotty Barnes develops his shot, he's a top 7 player in this class at minimum, just because he's going to step in and he could be a high-level contributor on a championship team simply because of his defense and how good he is defensively. Small ball 5 era moving in. And I think I would disagree with the sentiment that he's not a good rebounder. Yes, he didn't perform well rebounding in college. That I agree with. I think that's the point you were making, is a lot of it is situational. I think he's a fine rebounder, especially if he's rebounding against Jeff Green in the NBA. I think he'll be able to rebound. Strength will be the question with him, his body continuing to kind of form into the mold, whatever team he ends up on. And yeah, I think a lot of these prospects that we're going to talk about outside of the top 4 are right team, right coach, right situation.
I feel his skill set is so different from the average player of that position. It's like trying to put Jokic on a different team, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, would Jokic be Jokic if he was on, like, the goddamn Memphis Grizzlies under, like, take that for data? No. No, he wouldn't be. He would be some fucking bum in the G League. Like, that's the crazy thing about it, is fit means so much. Giannis, without the coaching staff and the drive behind, ball in Giannis's hand is how we're going to raise him up in our system.
Yep.
Like, you have to have that coach who believes in you 100% and is going to put his neck on the line to have you thrive in your play style. And I think that Barnes, there's just too many things that have to go right for him to be a star. And I see so many guys above him with less required. His free throw, I'm sorry, 60% on 3 attempts is shit. Like, you're a guy who is playing near the basket. You should expect contact. You should thrive on contact at that size, especially without an outside shot that fucking anyone cares about. Like, the fact that you can't consistently knock down free throws is a major problem. You can't stretch the floor as a 4, which means we're going to have lineup issues. So if we play you at the 5, same thing, but like less of a problem. But now you're 6'9", slight frame. And again, this is early concerns in his career. We expect him to have a long career. Yeah. So with time, he will add size. I'm not saying like he'll stop growing or anything like that, but like it's still just that like
you were the one who was on here a couple years ago saying Bobo's going to add muscle. I'm just saying like
I do, and he has.
He has.
If you look at his pictures,
play him.
That is a Utah problem I'm sorry, a Denver problem.
Play him.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, Scotty Barnes. I agree with you. I don't think his shot is broken to the terms of that he just hasn't. Again, it sounds so late. He just hasn't made the shots. Like, I don't think his form is completely broken at the free throw line. I don't think his form is broken from the 3-point line. I just think it needs work. And that's what I think a lot of these prospects in this draft that you look at it, we'll talk, even throwing in Kuminga. We already talked, we'll trash on him in a little bit. But Kuminga, and a lot like with Scotty Barnes, is this their shot consistency? Like, who in this class, like, Kispert might be one of the most consistent shooters in this draft, which is a good thing, but I don't know if and he doesn't have massive upside. We agreed on that. So what I'm trying to form the question in my mind. If you know what I'm asking is like a lot of these guys have shot concerns. So
they're not complete products coming out of college. I understand that. What do I look for to see guys what's the difference between guys who are going to get better shooting in the NBA versus guys who aren't?
There's the question, yes.
Honestly, because so many of these kids are first-year players, and we don't have that, a lot like Davion Mitchell, someone who we've crucified for his massive jump, his shot. All of a sudden, it comes out of nowhere where he is now an elite three-point shooter, and a lot of people don't believe that because nobody usually goes up, 15 points in a three-point shot in one season.
Yeah.
That's kind of irregular, and we kind of expected to find a mean somewhere down in the middle.
Yeah.
But with someone like Barnes, I just go back and I look at the high school tape. How did he dominate in high school? What was his thing? Oh, he worked through the paint.
Yeah.
He was not a guy who created his own shot on the outside and crossed over guys like he was not that kind of a player. And I think that the fact that he has played that kind of a style, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the fact that he's played that kind of style and he has been successful up to this point means I'm less likely to believe that, he didn't have a shot that he was comfortable with taking at the time in high school. College, very much the same. He's not incredibly shy about, the 3-point shot. He'll take 1 or 2 a game and just put himself out there. But I don't know. It's just, I don't see him as someone who had a shot, lost it. And it's just that's just a stagger in college. That's fine. Grimes is someone who was an absolute killer in high school. Came into college, bad system, bad fit, and poor shooting splits. Guess what? He worked and got better. Guess what? He worked and got better again because he wasn't good enough yet. And now I fucking love and respect him as someone who will bust his ass. He's got that player progression that I love to see. So with Barnes, you have to project so much off of, we only have 20 games in college, and you have to look at high school tape, to be honest. And high school tape's against questionable level of talent, but how did he do it in high school?
I guess I don't buy into that as much because I've seen Ben Simmons pulling up from 3 in high school and burning people like that. So I get the sentiment, and yes, I'm sure that some cases it does hold up. I just don't know if I buy it completely with Scotty Barnes.
It's just where you look at free throw as the first thing with everyone.
Yeah.
Is your free throw shot good? Great. You have a mechanic. Can you duplicate that mechanic? Can you do catch and shoots?
But again, that's
great. Can you pull ups now? Great. Can you create for yourself? It's the tiers of shooting, and he's still way the fuck down here.
Again, but the shooting is not the part of the game that I love with him. He's again
right. No, and then I get that, but I'm just saying to progress as a shooter, you have to take more. Like that, it's not something that you sit there and practice all day and then you don't go shoot in a game. You know, that's not how you get better as a shooter, Ben Simmons. I'm talking to you again.
That's 5.
But it's the problem. I swear, we had that argument. It was Ben Simmons can't shoot in college. I'm like, that's fine. He's got plenty of time. And now here we are 5 years later, going, like, Ben Simmons can't shoot.
I agree. Not can't, won't. There's a difference. Like, the free throw percentage, in the playoffs are terrible, but his percentages were up.
Okay, how about the number 2 overall of the Anthony Davis draft? MKG.
Okay.
Someone who was an incredible college defender.
Broken.
Literally could lock down 1 through 5.
No, that was
hilariously broken shot.
Broken shot is different than like his shot.
Hilariously broken shot.
Like, remember, there's a picture of him shooting, and like his shot was broken. Like
yeah. And then when he went to fix it, he got hurt that year with a shoulder injury, which just put a fucking nail in him.
It's so sad. It's so sad.
But the point is, like, we've seen incredible college defenders before.
Yeah.
And if they can't make a shot, they can't stay on the floor. Scotty brings that facilitating to the game. That is his saving grace. That is why I don't think he'll ever be worse than a good role player.
So like,
but I also don't see a ceiling ever being an all-star because I don't think that he has the all-around offensive game and shot to get there. And that's why when people are saying, like, he should be taken 4th, I'm like, you should be put in a fucking closet and told to never make takes again. Like, just don't take no more basketball takes from you, man.
So you see, like, low end, do you think he ends up as like a Thibault, where Thibault shot is meh, but his defense is so good that
his shot goes in pretty well, actually. Like,
time to time, it's time to time. He doesn't take a lot. Like,
he's streaky. He is streaky as a shooter.
Streaky as they get. I think after the All-Star break, he came out and shot like 12 for 16 from 3 and missed like 12 in a row after that. But that's what Scotty Barnes can be. Is he can be an all NBA defender at his upside. And
because he can 1 through 5. Yes. Like, he has the foot speed. I 100% think at least 2 through 5 at the NBA level. Like, some guys first step, sure, whatever. Like, nobody ain't keeping up with that shit. But I think at least 2 through 5 at the NBA level, he's switchable. But it's that, like, if he can't stretch the floor, do you play him at the 4? Don't know. If he's playing the 5, is he going to get bodied around during his early career? Can he ever hit that point where, again, Joel Embiid's going to make this kid look like a bitch for the first decade of his life.
Everybody makes Joel Embiid makes everybody look like a bitch, so it's not really saying
the point is just the physicality of the top end players is my concern. If you're playing him at the 5 and the lack of floor spacing at the 4, so like you're left with what's he going to play around? Like, he needs to find the right fit, which goes back to my problem of he has so many like things you have to do to hit that top end. That's why I don't understand why so many people are putting him like 4th on their big board or 5th on their big board. I'm going, I mean, you got to have the right guys, the right coach. So much has to line up to make that thing work.
Well, next segment will be interesting. I would. I think his upside with his defense, and again, I think a lot of things I rate scoring and defense are like 1 and 2 on my big boards, and that's why I think I have Scotty Barnes so high, is that I can take the defense and teach you everything else, or try to teach you everything else. Again, outside of the top 4, I've said most of these players are coin flips because we've seen a lot of, in this draft specifically, a lot of the concerns are the same with a lot of the players, is that their shooting consistency and their shot creation consistency. Outside of the top 4, who's going to give it to you consistently, who's going to be able to create their own shot at an NBA level consistently, and who can make others better at the same time.
The one thing I almost have to ask you is going to just be like, he's a Florida State player, so
he's gonna be
I'm not counting him out.
He's gonna be
I'm not counting him out by any means.
Put him on the fucking Magic. Put him on the Magic. Put him on the Magic. Have him learn under Shumo Keke, and we'll just be great. We'll just be great, dude. Him and Josh.
If you have a defensive lineup of Isaac, Chuma, and him, nobody's fucking coming in the paint. No,
don't even. And Markel. Markel is a lockdown defender when he's healthy. Like
that's like that would be disgusting. Yes, I understand, but at the same time, their floor spacing would be atrocious.
Listen, but let it happen.
Listen,
I think Scotty Barnes can be a good shooter. There's no I think he can be. I'm trying to think because now we just talked about Scotty Barnes for 15 minutes. Name some other people that you named that we haven't talked about, because
I've got Jalen Johnson at 16. Again, I think it's attitude. I think he's got to go to the right system, otherwise he's going to flame out in the NBA.
See, this is why we just talk about upside versus sure things, because you see Jalen Johnson's upside and you're like, holy.
He thinks he's a pick and roll ball handler. He is not.
He can be.
He is not.
He can be.
He failed horribly in college at the pick and roll.
Well,
horribly. to the point where they had to be like, all right, we gave you your chance for a couple games. You fucking sucked at it. Go play this other role for us. And he's like, I'm not feeling that. I'm going to just take my ball and go home. Like, I'm sorry. That is not an attitude of an NBA player.
Oh my gosh.
That is the attitude of someone like fucking Josh Jackson, who is going to flame out of the NBA.
Whoa.
Yeah. Immaturity. I don't want immature idiots on my team. Jalen Johnson has every fucking athletic gift given to him. But I'm sorry, he is not going to be a player who succeeds because of himself. He's a player who's going to succeed because some coach can get to him on a mental level and get this guy to grow with the team and be a team player, because he is not right now.
We stay hashtag on the court here. No, I'm kidding. I love Jalen Johnson's game. Again, you haven't heard his name yet from me in my big board. I think his overall upside of his game, I don't see the immaturity thing. I don't disagree with. It's just not something I rate as highly, is because I think that somebody can get to him. Again, it doesn't work out for everybody. Some people
can be baited on the court into committing stupid fouls too.
I'm not disagreeing with any of that, but his body, his game, the flashes that I did see at Duke show what he can be. It's consistency. It's learning.
First game was just. If he got hurt after his first game, I'd be like, this man's a top 5 pick.
He might be before Suggs. If he had that one game, he might have gone before Suggs. But no, I think in this, his shot is there though. Is the problem? Like, we talk about all these guys that don't have his shot. I think his shot's there. His driving ability is there. It's just the IQ, the consistency, and the game needs to slow down for him. That is the big issue with college. You saw him rushing a lot and turning the ball over and not making the right decisions in the pick and roll. No, I don't think he is a pick and roll maestro. I'm sorry, I don't. But also, going to the NBA, I think his mindset might be a little bit different depending on what team he gets to. I think at Duke, he was brought in as the guy, and he thought, he might have thought in his head that he had to be the primary ball handler, be the guy who's leading the offense the entire time. And he's just not that guy right now. But you look at wings, that the league is dominated by wings, dominated by guards who can score the ball, and he can do that. He can do that at a very high level when the game actually slows down for him. So getting out of his own head and having a coach actually get into his head is going to be the big thing with him. But again, and we talked about this, if that happens, his upside is massive. Yeah. Like, he's an all-star
one of the most gifted wings in the draft. Yeah,
he's an all-star wing if that happens. So again, I think we just differ on that point. We both see the potential. It's just the avenue of, can he get there or can he not get there? Kuminga, you shit on me last time for having him low. You said I needed help, just like you just trashed people about Scotty Barnes.
I slid him down on my board because Butler came back. Butler's in my top 10.
You slid him down more than just because of Butler.
Yeah, I did. So the funny thing is, Jonathan Kuminga, he has great driving with the basketball. He has a great body, and the biggest thing about him is his age. He is younger than just about everybody in this fucking draft class, and younger than half the people in next year's draft class too. I think that is his highest value as a prospect right now. Is he has an NBA body. He's incredibly young. The basketball IQ has so far to go.
So he
doesn't know what to do off. He's Zaire Williams, but he had more production.
There you go. Yeah, okay.
He has a confidence in his game and a willingness to try to take over, even if he's not the right guy to do it. He has that confidence to try.
He had that one game though. He had that one.
He started off so hot, yeah. And that's the thing. Like, the more you watch in G League, okay, this guy doesn't know what to do off ball, but he could be an excellent slasher. It's the like, what could I see you do at the next level? It's like, you could be an excellent slasher. Yep. You could be a decent shooter from the mid range and pull up because you have that body to go so hard in the first step that if you give a little shoulder push, you could just pull up and nail it. Like,
he hits himself in the face when he shoots, basically.
Yeah, I was to say, like, when he comes out, it's yeah.
He's definitely one of those times that he shoots, he's gonna go like this and just go like that. One time it's gonna happen. Sorry.
He's got to work on his shot. It's not perfect. His ball handling is very loose, but he is aggressive with it. Defensively, he needs to watch tape for the next 2 years.
Oh, probably longer.
But again, like, I just think that it's the offensive aggression is why I have him higher up as a raw talent.
Okay.
And the age, like, again, younger, bigger, stronger, faster. Like, he's got all this great stuff going for him, but I just think that he needs to learn so much about the game of basketball still.
Yeah.
That's why I've got him at 12.
I think
he'll be taking top 10, no doubt, but
he'll be taking top 7.
personal.
Top 7.
Yeah.
I think we're in the same place with him. Again, a lot of big boards come down to who do we think can succeed and improve on their efficiency and who can. I'm on the fence with him. That's why I have him at 12. I just don't know. He'll be a top 7, and if he does hit, he's a top 2 talent in the draft. Like, he is probably, it is him and he who shall not be named at number 1, because who knows who's at number 1 in my board and your board. Might be different.
No.
So, yeah, is there anybody else we want to touch on in 11 through 20 before we move on to the top 10?
No, I think that's TREY MANN for me made the biggest jump. I think I haven't looked yet, but he made a pretty big jump for me. He
fell 2 spots for me, so
I stopped looking at him as a point guard and started valuing him as a shooting guard, and that's where I got the biggest bump from me. Is I like him as an off-ball guard, and I think that he could really thrive given the right draft right around that area. I love him going to a team like Memphis. I've been really trying to find like what's going to put them over the top, and I think that someone like TREY MANN would be a phenomenal fit for them.
Agreed. Yeah, I think he's just a good scoring wing, and he can play off ball, on ball, whatever. I think I agree. He's better off ball, especially cutting. He's so quick and so elusive that getting behind defensive lines, especially. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. He's just so quick and he's so elusive that his off ball scoring is I would tailor way more valuable than his on ball. Especially if you put him with a point guard that can pass like John Morant. Be interesting. Yeah, defensively, I was going to say if you could put him with a point guard who can pass like Trae Young, but then defensively I thought of those two playing together. And I thought about the 55 they give up a game.
At least.
Yeah, but that'll do it through our 20 through 11. And now we're going to move through our 1 through 10. This might be the most fun to talk about because, we honestly, the last couple of like big boards we've done, we talked so much about other prospects that we haven't talked about the top guys as much. We're going to hit on this one. Dave, do you want to go first with your 1 through 10?
Didn't I go first last time?
Oh, did you? Okay, I'll go. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think this is your chance.
All right. At 10, I have Usman Garuba. Yeah, there's starting off hot, Dave. Starting off with your favorite guy. 9, I have Sengun. Love Sengun. Number 8, I have Keon Johnson. 7, I have Jalen Johnson. 6, I have Josh Giddey. 5, I have Scotty Barnes. You said I'm an idiot for putting him at 4 or 5, but he's at 5. 4, Jalen Suggs. 3, Evan Mobley. 2, Cade Cunningham. And 1, Mr. Jalen Green. Mr. Bucket Getter. All right, Dave, what do you got through your 10 through 1?
At 10, I have Mr. Booknight. At 9, I have Jared Butler. At 8, I have Roko Perkachin. At 7, I have Moses Moody. At 6, I have Schengen. At 5, I have Cooper, who I don't know where you had him. At 4...
Cooper, I had a 13, sorry.
Okay. At 4, I had Suggs. 3, Mobley. 2, Cade. 1, JG. 4.
We got to start one place because people are going to be absolutely triggered at us in the comment section, I assume, or watching their video. You know what? You've talked about enough about him. I'm going to talk about him first this time. Jalen Green. We've heard Dave. Nice camera there, Dave. It got a little bit foggy whenever you went away.
It does every time I move. It's a really bad camera.
Jalen Green. We talked about what his. I don't think we talked about this on stream. We talked about it in Discord one night, I believe. We were talking about floors and ceilings of these top guys because that's not what gets talked about a lot. We just hear about like how good they are now. Jalen Green's floor in my mind is a 20-point per game scorer in the NBA. That is what he like. If he does nothing better and no improving, then he's going to score 20 points per game in the NBA and be in the NBA for 15 years probably. Now, we talked about the playoffs a lot. The Devin Booker Kobe comparisons. If you really want to compare Kobe to any NBA player, 1, it's Jason Tatum. Stick by that one. But 2, I haven't heard it once except for you about Jalen Green. And Jalen Green is just as gifted to score as Kobe was when he walked into the league. Jalen Green gets it at any level, at any angle, at double teamed, triple teamed, whatever. And he also has the passing ability to exploit double teams consistently. And a lot of times on Ignite is his cuts, his off-ball cuts, were not rewarded because his teammates aren't good enough passers. That's going to change in the league. Most likely he's going to be a Cleveland Cavalier. We've kind of heard all the reports that the Rockets are going to go Mobley. Your loss. But Darius Garland and Jalen Green playing together is going to be so much fun if it does when it happens. Jalen Green is going to be able to walk in and be one of the best scorers at every level in the NBA, can get it against anybody. We talked about guys consistently being able to beat NBA defenders. He's going to beat any defender in the NBA consistently. How quick he is, his ball handling, his moves, everything about his game is polished offensively. And then defensively, if he just becomes a average defender / somewhat plus defender, he already can read passing lanes pretty well. He already has a good ceiling ability. Can the on-ball improve is the only question with him. Most likely it will, just because he seems to be improving at every angle of his game and wants to improve at every angle of his game. I don't know where the negatives are with him. Like, I don't know where even to start with the negatives. That's why I have him 1 now, is because I think we talk about sure things and upside. He's both of them. He has everything you want in a wing / wing. Yeah, he's a wing. Him and Isaac Okoro on the wing for the Cleveland Cavaliers is orgasmic, okay? I love Isaac Okoro's defense. I love Jalen Green's defensive upside. Obviously, his offensive game. Isaac Okoro showed flashes of what he can be offensively. If the Cavaliers get Jalen Green, they are going to get a guy who's going to be a multi-time All-Star, multi-time All-NBA finisher, and probably a multi-time scoring champ. So there's my Jalen Green rant.
I love the confidence, Jake. The only thing I would have to say, bring you back down to earth, the one thing people are knocking on him for is his current frame and weight. Yeah. And to that, I say, go fuck yourself. He is 18.
Yeah.
Like, it will come with time. The kid will put on muscle. Yep. He will add mass. He has a great frame to add on to. It's not like he has like some weird shaped body or anything like that. Like, he has a perfect frame to add on. But the way he floats is unnatural. He jumps and then hits the air, and then you're like, all right, he should be coming down now. And then he'll like somehow keep floating and just extend. Like, I was watching him do baseline moves. Baseline, like he'd drive baseline, he'd stop, he'd jump, turn, and then you get the float, and it just stays, and then and it's just like, that shouldn't be physically possible. He's clearly watched and idolized Kobe growing up. He's talked about it in interviews.
Sure. Yeah.
The skill set, I mean, just he knows the moves, and that's one of the biggest things is when you see young scorers who don't have to think. Like, he has the ball in his hands, and there's not that hesitation. Like, he knows where he wants to go on the floor with it. He reads the defender in front of him, and based on how they're set up to guard him, he knows how to make the right move. Whether he's crossing them over, whether he's jab stepping to get space. Like, I've been floored by his talent offensively for so long, and I'm glad to hear somebody else is on the train.
Yeah, he's like in Super Mario when you would double tap A and you jump, and then you jump again and do like a flip. That's what I think about when I watch him play. Like, I saw this clip on Twitter. Somebody was going through, I think it was Jackson Frank. If you don't follow him on Twitter, he's a great follow. He was posting all like JG4 clips the other day, and the one move he did, he like crossed over past one defender on the perimeter, and then 2 defenders came and helped. And instead of like looking to pass for the weak side, he just went over top of both of them and just floated off the bank for an and one layup. Like, he just knows how to score, and it's so effortless that I think we talked about like what was the name earlier, Cameron Thomas, like effortless scoring. JG4 does that at another level, at an efficient level, like at a level is going to step into the NBA and be a star. Like, I don't know, like, I don't want to overrate him at some point, and I know his frame is a question, but like you said, he's 18, he's going to add weight, and and even if he doesn't, he bounces off of defenders. We talk about this term a lot in like soccer, football for some people, like the rare ability, like when you're dribbling past people.
I apologize. He is 19 now.
He was 18 when he was playing in the G League, I believe, or was he 19?
19 in February.
So
depending on which part of the season, it was right around there.
Both. But like, you have the rare ability to drive past defenders, and they almost just like bounce off of you, where they literally can't defend you. I love him. I genuinely, he's
baby Kobe. That's what he is. That's why people need to respect him. He should be the first overall pick in this draft because he is the best player. It doesn't matter, but they're not going to take him first. They're not even going to take him second. He will go third to the Cavs, like you said. I just hope that they clear the way and get Colin Sexton out of there so he has room to thrive. That's my whole thing. It's like, Cleveland, no, fuck this up. You got gifted the best offensive talent of this draft and perhaps the best player of this draft.
Yeah, not perhaps, he is. We'll tailor in Cade into this conversation because we were Mr. Slap the Wall for about 8 months there with Cade Cunningham. And I think we both have similar, not doubts, but similar, like Cade is going to walk into the league and probably average 17, 7, and 7. Like that's just what he's going to walk in and do. My question is, what is his upside and what is his, not upside, what is his top level, and can he be, Jalen Green can be the best player on a championship team at his best potential. I don't think Cade Cunningham can be. That is the difference. Can he be the second? Yeah, probably. That's why he's been the undisputed number 1 pick. The Pistons taking him number 1, I won't question it. They're going to do it. He's going to be a great fit and play on the wing with Killian Hayes. I don't even want to slight Cade Cunningham because he's a tremendous prospect and the top 3 in this draft is stacked. Jalen Green.
It's 1A, and 1B in a lot of people's minds, and I think there's not that much of a gap between them. Like you said, Cade has complete arsenal around him offensively. Like he can attack, he can shoot from all 3 levels. For him, it's more so just a question of like, great, what are you going to put around him? And is he going to have that ability to take over? We saw it in 2 games in college that I can distinctly remember where he tried to take over the game offensively and just get it done himself. You know, signs of that, like, you know, old school LeBron where he just tried to take over and finish off games. And like, that is the kind of instinct you love to see out of him. Again, I just think that I don't see the upside. I don't see him matching the upside, partially because of the lack of athleticism and the offensive skill set that Jalen Green has. I absolutely fucking adore. Yeah. I think Cade will be phenomenal at the NBA. And again, I feel like this is almost like a no losers top 3. Like, yeah. I know that every top 3, it's like, well, 2 out of the 3 picks are going to be very good and 1 will be disappointing. I know that had been the trend for the longest time.
I was going to say it's changing.
It is changing. I think we're getting more talent in the NBA, and I think that the drafts are more loaded than ever. So I just think that, you know, both Cade and Mobley both have very high chances. I think Mobley has the highest chance to bust because of, you know, he's a raw big, and if he has an injury, he is fucked as a big. That's just
I was going to say bigs have the most potential to fail. When we talk about any of them, we talk about Sengun, we talk about Kai Jones, we talk about Isaiah Jackson, we talk about Evan Mobley. Bigs always have the bigger, because it is a wing-dominated league, and it has been for it has been for over, I don't even know how long. Forever.
Yeah, it's guards and then wings.
Yeah, and it was like unless you're Steph Curry, it's a guard. It is a wing 1 league. I mean,
the last decade of basketball was LeBron James is a wing, and then Steph Curry, and then LeBron James is a guard. So like,
you just love to see it. We talked about him. I think we talked about Suggs last time. And kind
we did, I think. Yeah.
So let's move on. Let's talk about Sengun, because how do you pronounce his last name? Shen.
It's Shengun. Or Shingun. I think it's Shingun.
AS. That's what I'm gonna call him. Okay. I think, speaking on him, how offensively gifted he is for somebody at his size. I watched him play in that World Cup qualifying or the Olympic qualifying game.
Why didn't he get more minutes is what we were all crying for.
Him and Furkan were just like, just give him the ball and run the pick and roll.
Yep.
It was so much fun to watch. First off, watching Furkan play basketball was great. But yeah, offensively gifted as they come, defensively is the major question with him, because major Jahlil Okafor vibes real quick, because I was
whoa.
At least Jahlil Okafor had the frame to sometimes body up people. Sengun does not have the frame right now to body up consistently defensively against 5s. The only worry I have is watching him play pick and roll defense in that game. Looked like a lost kitten in the middle of the road. There was one play in particular where he played drop coverage, and whoever the pick and roll ball handler was just drove past him, and he did not leave his man and just let him get a wide open layup. And I was like, are you going to step? Are you going to do anything? Are you going to rotate?
So international games, these are not your normal teammates. There are going to be some communication lapses, some coverage lapses. I know he's not elite. He's not good. He is he's not passable at best on defense.
Yeah, I was going to say.
The big question is what are his actual measurables? Is he going to be a 4 or a small ball 5? Is he 6'9", or is he still growing and going to be 6'11" by the time he's 22? Like, we don't know these things yet, and I think that's going to ultimately decide a lot of his upside at the NBA level. Like, I love his offensive skill set so much, that I'm like, look, he's actually the same height as Sabonis was at his age, or actually taller. Yeah. So like Sabonis kept growing. I expect him to keep growing. Like I think Şengün could end up 6'11 and a half, somewhere in that range, which would be great.
Yeah.
I think his upside for defense is that his hips aren't terrible. He doesn't have the fastest feet, but the fact that he can turn well and that he has an incredible core strength is the biggest upside, because if he can grow defensively, that is the reason why, is because he actually has flexible hips. He can turn with defenders. Yeah. I just think that there's a long way to grow there, but his offensive, oh my God.
Again, this is like what we were talking about, even with JG4. Like, when somebody can score the ball at the level he can, you're willing to take the risk. Like, and he gets it. He can get it at different levels. It's just continuing to grow his shot and hopefully being able to become a 3-level scorer. I think he does level out as a 5. He has to, I think. Maybe a stretch 4 can, depending on what team he ends up on.
It depends on the fit. Like if you have an athletic 5 or an athletic, guy you can pair next to him. Do you try to go that route?
Give me him on the Hornets. Just give me him on the Hornets and let Miles Bridges just bully people with a small ball 5 and just like let him reject people at the rim. That is what I want. Just have Şengün at the 4-5 with Miles Bridges and LaMelo. That's all I want. Most of the guys we've talked about in the top 10 of mine, we've talked about. So is there anybody in yours that we haven't?
I mean, Butler, I have in my top 10.
Yeah, we can talk about him.
You already mentioned you didn't have him because of obviously the heart condition still being in the air, but it seems like I looked for any news on it, and everybody's just back into like, oh, he's working out again. So if he's working out with teams, he's in the draft.
I agree.
I think he is one of the best 3-and-D guards in the league, in college basketball. I think that walks in, so probably pretty up there. Yeah. He's got big game experience. He's not, a 19-year-old kid, which I think a lot of people, if he put up these stats at 19, would be insane. But he's a little bit older, not as old as Davion, but still. The thing is, like, he's young enough. He is proven. He is fucking tried and tested in the tournament. Like, he is everything you want. He's a great person. He just won another, like, fucking award from his conference. Like, he's incredibly well decorated. But it's just the basketball IQ is there. The defense is there. The shot is there. The facilitating, I think, is very good. You have to look at Baylor as like here's how they ran their offense. So he won't have gaudy number of assists. Yeah. But also the fact that he's a little bit bigger than Davion too.
Yeah.
And that's why people are putting Davion at the 1. Like, Davion's a 2. I get that he's small, but he's a 2 in the NBA, unfortunately.
Yeah, I fully agree. That's why I wanted him to end up in the Magic somehow so they could just run him in Fultz. That'd be great. Yeah, I think a lot of times when I was watching Baylor tape, I found myself watching for Davion Mitchell and then ending up just staring at Jared Butler on the court. Because, like, off-ball movement, ball handling, decision-making, defensively, good shot. Like, he is going to be a guy who steps in the league and plays for a long time. Like, as long as he doesn't get hurt.
Yeah.
Or what. He is going to be a guy who walks in with a good shot, great defensively, and can turn into an all-NBA defender. Like, that is his upside. I agree. If he is... in the draft, which apparently everything we've heard, he'll be in my 15 to 10.
Seems like it,
So he'll be somewhere in between there. I agree. He's a full-on... he fits today's NBA so well. Good size for a point guard. Again, I don't like, again, lazy-ass comparison, but if he is Patrick Beverley defensively but actually can shoot the ball consistently, we saw what Patrick Beverley did in the playoffs when he actually shot the ball well. If that's what you're getting out of Jared Butler, he's for sure a top 15, 12 prospect.
I mean, that is why I'm like the Warriors' dream pick. If he's there at 14, you fucking snatch that up.
Yeah, I agree. I think I like his game a lot, and I think the other guy we'll end on is Sharif Cooper, because I don't like him as much as you, but I definitely do like him. It's not that I have him at 13. I'm not slighting him. Calm down.
You're not as bad as someone like in our Discord who thinks he's like second-round talent, who I just will not name because I'm not vindictive like that. But I don't see how he fails at the NBA level.
Yeah.
He measured in just over 6 foot, which is fine because a lot of people thought he was 5'11". So there we go. Ticked off. He is not 5'11". Oh, okay. He is taller than Chris Paul. Like, no, that was a concern a lot of people had. Wingspan is actually, he's got a longer wingspan than height. Again, another bonus for him. Not like he's known for being a defender, but there's hope there that he will not be a turnstile.
Yeah.
His passing is fucking elite. And I mean, like, on the same level that John Morant and Trae Young were the elite passers of their draft class, Sharif Cooper is that same guy of this draft class.
Just like
and people are sleeping.
Yeah, just below Josh Giddey, yeah.
You are so fucking... Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
It's 1A, it's 1A it's 1A and 2A. That's what it is.
You're so fucking wrong.
Giddey's just 1A.
Look, he came in mid-season with no fucking prep, basically, and just dropped ridiculous number. Yep. Like, day one, here's the ball. You're now the heart and soul of this Auburn team. You're the number one. You're also the number two. We're gonna stand over there in the fucking corner and hope you carry us. JT Thor was like, nah, I'll be part of that. Like, he threw his name in there and helped out, but like, I just don't understand how people can disrespect this man's game because they think his shot is bad. And I'm like, do you really think a guy who shoots fucking 82% from the line and was forced to be the number one and number two offensive option on his basketball team in college was going to have a great shooting percentage from three? No. Is he going to be that bad forever? No. I think it's literally like he's going to spend this offseason working on his shot. Life get back to normal. He's going to be healthy. And I think in a couple of years, he'll be league average for a point guard. Like, I don't think he's ever be a 45% shooter for three and some dead eye, but like, can he hit 36%? Yep. Totally can.
I agree.
Like that's all you have to do. Like, if he can come in the league and drop 20 and 10, fucking get the fuck out. No, I'm saying like if he could.
Oh,
like,
yeah, I was gonna say if he could, he'd be a top 5 prospect.
Well, that's where I've got him. And that I think that is where he ends up at in his prime because I am so favorable to the fact that he can get to the line and he does not hate contact. Talk about guys bouncing off contact.
Oh, yeah.
This guy sought out contact. Seeked out. What a fucking idiot. He sought out contact in the paint. And he lived... Shut up. And he lived at the line. Like, he literally has a game where he had 21 attempts.
Oh, yeah. He's like... He's your mold. He's like, you love James Harden, and you love like those players who can manipulate contact. That's what Sharif Cooper can do, and I do agree. I mean, 13 on my board is about average for most people have. Actually, I've seen a lot of people have them lower. So
yeah, a lot of people have them right around 20 to 30 range. So I appreciate the respect. I don't see many holes in his game offensively,
Agreed.
And I think for the incredibly high level passer that he is, like. You're not going to get that out of, you know, let me look at my point guards throughout the draft. ROKAS, JOKUBAITIS, no. McBride, no. Preston, no. David Johnson, no. Joel Ayayi, no. Deshaun Nix, no. David Duke, no. DJ Stewart, no. Like, none of these guys are going to be anywhere close to the passer that he is.
Didn't name Josh Giddey.
Giddey was right below there, and I didn't do it because I knew you were going to fucking make a deal out of it.
I know. Yeah, and you also didn't name Bones because you know Bones is elite.
Bones is not a point guard. He's a shooting guard.
It was a joke, Dave. Yeah, I don't think there's many downsides to Sharif offensively. I think defensively with his size is always going to be the concern. And that's why I have him at 13. I think if he was doing what he is at 6'4", he'd be higher than Suggs probably, honestly, at my board. Yeah. So yeah, I think it honestly just comes down to the size. I think he can turn out to be an elite level talent offensively. Defensively, we'll see what it does. But again, size is only matters if the player lets it become a factor, if you know what I mean. Like when we look at Trae Young, you don't think about Trae Young being like is he 6'1", 6'2"? Like maybe, yeah. Like
on a good day.
You see like Chris Paul and Trae Young, you don't realize how short they are on the court. You like because how well they play. But then we see
Chris Paul's defense is tenacious, and I think that's something that everybody aspires to be when you're a smaller player. Trae Young is a turnstile, but their team is so fucking good.
One of the worst in NBA history is what we did. We still lay on that.
Correct.
But then you guys.
But when you have an elite center behind you, if you're a point guard and you get blown by, good. Have fun running in Clint fucking Capella in the paint. Like.
Holy, I didn't even
problem solved.
The Bucks are up 20. I didn't even realize. Yeah, so people were writing them off, and the series is still happening. Giannis just has 41, 12, and 6. Yeah, so Giannis is having. Also, sidetrack on the big board. Giannis is having one of the best postseason runs in like the last decade. Yeah, maybe ever. And people were just like, "Man, if you could make more." Sorry, it's one of my pet peeves. Giannis, I've been not a Giannis hater, but like Giannis non-supporter, I guess. But he needs to give credit where credit's due. But yeah, I think that'll wrap up our final big board before
Roko top 10 talent.
That'll wrap up our final big board before the NBA draft. Now, if we do get enough comments and we get enough feedback, maybe a day or two prior to the draft, we'll go live and do a mailbag almost. So maybe we'll do that, because I know that you always get
last second changes, and somebody had a great workout and hit 97 out of 100 threes in that workout.
Yep,
and that always happens.
So we'll be doing that. Me and Dave in the next day or two will be reacting to our Discord mock drafts. Again, Discord down below. 3, we're gonna have our Discord mock draft coming soon. It's gonna be a big live stream we're gonna do. We're gonna have it's gonna be very interesting. It'll be more revealed in I think Ricky and I will be recording a video in the future talking about it. That's gonna be a lot of fun. Again, Patreon channel members down below, you get this content a week early. If you'll be seeing this on Thursday this upcoming week instead of the week after. And then I'm sure Dave and I will do some video together before the draft. Besides that, I think content will be heating up now, since the draft is only 18 days away, right? 18 days. Is it 29th? Or is it 20?
It feels so close. I can't even tell you.
I'm just excited to see where I'm getting a Bones Highland jersey. So I hope on the back of his jersey he just has to say Bones.
Bones.
I don't know if he will, but probably not.
I don't think he can.
You can. You can get whatever you want on the back of your jersey.
We'll see.
I'm just saying you can. I know he won't, but you can. Because remember, somebody did it. I don't remember who it was. But that'll do it for our our video.
Yep.
We'll be seeing you guys probably later in the week. But have a good day, everybody.
WPN.